flyer on him. They took his time to heal, and he ended up winning a cup for them and being a fantastic player, the player that we expected him to be. But you're right, it is organizational changing where the disagreement and he didn't want to be there. When top players don't want to be there, it trickles down through your organization.
So how does that apply to, Marner leaving, Tavares? Tree Living spoke today and
different scenarios,
basically,
I would say.
He said Marner's basically gone. He didn't say it in those words. But like with Tavares, he just said, I'm going to stay optimistic that something happens. And
he sounded pretty similar on all the issues. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
it's going one way.
There wasn't a lot of substance.
Yeah, it was Lou-like. Lou-like.
It did have that kind of feel.
The only thing I would say is in seeing a lot of these moves now, I am of the belief is we can't judge these teams until like October 1st, and it might even be further because teams might be patient, sit on cap money, wait till other teams open up for business type of thing. I think you're going to see some methodical play here. I worry about July 1st. I don't think all hell's going to break loose from like money free agent standpoint. I think we're going to see more trades and trade action.
No, you're not, Jamie. No, you're not, because we've been promised lots of trades and crazy July 1st. I think every year I've been here. By 3 o'clock, we're all looking at each other, and it's like, Duthie, you got any funny jokes? Like, there's no trade's going to happen. They never do. We've never had that day that we've been promised. They owe us. Well,
right now we are. There's trades every day. They're just not the biggest trades in the world, but we have seen, and I think through the weekend we're going to see a lot more activity. People trying to free up cap space, trying to move players around, and this comes back to my original comment. How many teams believe that they want to improve and get better this year, as opposed to go the other way and selling the farm?
I do think there's a game of chicken going on right now,
right?
Because Bettman and Daly in the league, I wouldn't say jammed up the GMs, but made things complicated when they announced the cap going up 3 years into the future. Something I don't recall them ever doing. So I think what is clearly taking place is, I'm sure the agents are all saying, well, I kind of want to negotiate off the cap I know is coming in 3 years.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think Don Waddell said today, he's like, just because we had to explain to some people, just because this a $3 million player and they're hearing this cap going up doesn't all of a sudden mean they're worth $4 now.
But exactly, and that's Waddell's stance, and I think the GM stance. But the player stance is, actually, I am worth $4 now. Yeah. So that's what's going to possibly complicate things, is because someone's got to win. Like one side or the other's got to win.
It's either you get 4 or you don't have a contract.
It's almost
so you
like
pick.
It's a game of chicken in the league. Are the GMs all going to look at each other and say, "Man, keep your cool here. Don't get stupid. Don't start offering some fourth line player $4 million a year, or else we're all going to get jammed."
But do you think that will this lead to maybe a guy like Marner taking a short-term deal, and saying the cap going up a lot more? Like we
possibly, but Noodles, like Marner's is a different category. Like he's going to get paid. You know what I mean? Right. Like, and someone's just going to want him and say, "Fine, what is it? 13? Fine." Like they'll
whatever it is.
But I think it's the middle guys, that are good players. That it's like, well, I want to be paid. If I'm going to sign a 5-year deal, I want it based on like that third year. I know it's going up another $16 million or whatever. That's probably complicating things.
Well,
and naturally, the teams are all trying to get an edge, as they should. And that's what's happening right now.
It's a great point, but the only thing that I feel like is, and we should all understand this as fans, the top players are the ones who have to worry about the cap going up because they make the most money. What it is we call it, replacement level players that, will reset. Sometimes a guy prices himself out of the league and then you're not available. Now you got to reset. Jamie Benn at $1 million at 35 years old, going to have some bonuses, that type of stuff. You reset because you made a bunch of money or you priced yourself out. The top players are always going to get paid. But you're right. If there's a guy who's a $3 million player who thinks he's 5 because the cap's going to be up $16 million 3 years from now, that's going to throw the whole system out of whack. The managers have to be a lot smarter than that, though, and go, I'm sorry, you're a player that's a third-line guy. 3 years from now, I'll get a guy and pay him $3 million still to play your position.
And I think that's why the Tavares scenario is complicated. Like, Nyes is different because, he's a young player and you think he's going to keep growing. Yet he's an RFA, so doesn't have a lot of leverage or power. And again, he's had a very good couple of years. Not superstar, not all-star, and he's got to play with two great players. So it is complicated, but not as much as Tavares, where I would presume John's coming to them in his rep saying, well, I'm a second-line center who scored 38, and it sounds like Tree Living could be saying, well, I actually see you as a third-line center who will not be doing that in the future. So if you want second-line money and we want to pay you third-line money, how does this work?
Right.
How's this gonna work? And someone's going to have to blink. So between now and next Tuesday.
Third line money, Hayes, but he'll still be on that top power play unit. Like, he won't miss a beat. Trust me on that one.
And he probably should, though.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Not
right.
Leaving, I agree. He probably should be on.
So then as a player, you're like, why the hell would I ever agree to third line money if I'm a first unit power play guy that might rip home 30?
But it comes back to what Brian and I were debating yesterday. Does he want to stay here in Toronto? Mm-hmm. Because if he does, he's got to find a common balance. Because I've got a few teams, like, I know we got to go, but what would Montreal pay for him to be a second-line center there?
Tavares?
Find out. You're stupid if he probably knows what they would.
But my point is if, like, it depends on, does he want to stay where he knows he's got a good team and good situation, or does he want to take a chance on a team that is up and coming and to be a mentor and to get valuable minutes? And that is a playoff team, we believe, and trying to get better. Mm-hmm. And they will pay him a lot more, probably.
Yeah,
I would say.
I would think they'd give him maybe $6 million, $7 million, like that.
Exactly.
That is possible. They're not going to pay him Suzuki money or anything like that. But you're right. And listen, I can tell you from just speaking with people in Montreal, this doesn't mean the team is looking at him, but the market is talking about Tavares.
That's all I'm saying.
They are.
They're speaking for Montreal.
They are talking about, like, well, what if Tavares hits July 1? So it's out there in Montreal. Like, the idea that might be a move that I think the fan base would like. Yeah. All right, James Duthie coming up. Maybe he's got a joke for us today. All right, we'll see if he's got his A stuff ready for us today. Chris Pronger coming up. We got Eric Hosmer. Some fireworks in the Blue Jay game today. Jays won big today. They lost in extra innings last night. But Vladdy left the game. Was hit last night and got hit again today.
That
left the
pissed
game.
Me off.
Yeah, he was rattled, as he was. And then Gausman, I love this old school stuff. He stepped right in, said, give me Ramirez, give me your best player. And he absolutely destroyed him with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And Ramirez knew it was coming. And everyone in the building knew it was coming. And that's kind of old school unwritten code.
It is one of the weird things about that occupation. You're going up to do your job, and you're like, this guy's going to throw a 100-mile-an-hour baseball at my head, probably.
Yes.
Well,
and Ramirez probably looked at his guy and said, the second Vladdy got hit again today, he's like, and then he left the game. Ramirez is like, I know what's coming. The ninth hitter's not getting hit. I'm going to take one. And like Gausman and he just, look at him, he can barely breathe. He's like, and the benches kind of were warned, and it looked like it was going to get carried away. And anyway, Jays with a win today. So they get a split. Now they got Boston this weekend. They got the Yankees next week. So we need an update on Vladdy. Again, he went for x-rays. They came back negative, but we'll see what comes of that. Duthie coming up, Prongs coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.